We're picking up pumpkins and squash and turnips. Bill was saying that his guys are real good at growing pumpkins, and they grew quite a bit of squash this year. I think something in the neighborhood of 1,200 pounds, something in the neighborhood of 1,200 pounds of turnips, and then around 150 to 175 pumpkins. And those are big.
I enjoy coming out here, working in the garden, giving back to the community. It makes me feel good about myself. I think they'll go to good homes. Hopefully a lot of kids will have fun carving them out, ready for Halloween. You know, make pumpkin pie. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna knock it off the push.
Come on back, just a couple more. That looks good to me.
We produce about 20,000 pounds of regular crops like corn, tomatoes, squash, turnips, etc., and about 5,000 pounds of pumpkin. So we're about a 25,000 pound operation, and it keeps us all busy.
The produce is going to have a long, wild weekend, but it's all going to end up safely at the Volunteer Regional Food Pantry. The produce is going to be part of the 350 action, the 350 rally at the fair on Saturday at 3:50. Folks are going to be lifting local. They're going to be holding up their pumpkins and squash to the sky to celebrate that it's harvest season, and the Common Ground Fair is about celebrating rural living, and you know, this is how a rural community does climate change.
Well, we had 3 weeks to organize, you know, source some materials, get people involved, get the word out. I really want to answer the questions that you guys have. Here's kind of what I proposed, is that we go through some of the material, the online material, to outline the project a little bit. And there was quite a bit of movement in the last project, but this is about movement, right? The Moving Planet action was meant to encourage people to think about moving industry, moving towns, moving individuals away from a petroleum-based economy, a petroleum-based lifestyle.
The Arctic is melting, and Texas is burning up, and Vermont is flooding, and all the other 1,000 things we see as a result of climate change. Okay.
Climate change that is effectively irreversible over the period of at least 1,000 years and beyond.
Climate change is an environmental, cultural, political phenomenon which is reshaping the way we think about ourselves, our societies, and humanity's place on Earth.
Virtually every single National Academy of Sciences in the world has agreed that human-caused climate change is a major unfolding factor in this century.
In January of 2008, our most important climatologist, Jim Hansen, and his team at NASA put out a paper, maybe the most important scientific paper of this millennia so far.
There can be little doubt that climate change is settled science.
And what it said was, we know enough about climate now to know how much carbon in the atmosphere is too much. Any value for carbon in the atmosphere greater than 350 parts per million is not compatible with the planet on which civilization developed and to which life on Earth is adapted.
Every additional molecule of carbon dioxide that we add to the air will contribute to a millennial scale warming.
No matter where we are, in Maine or in Mongolia, we're right now way above that number. The atmosphere holds 393 parts per million CO2, and it goes up about 2 parts per million per year.
On our current emissions trajectory, we will likely achieve 4 degrees centigrade by 2080. Civilization did not develop on a planet that was that warm.
That's very strong language, and very scary language, and unfortunately very true language.
It's essential that we address it now, and I think it's important for us to make a statement.
I'm going to be on the lift We're in communication. I think Sarah's going to have the bullhorn.
Just stay put and then start directing the flow through here. We've got another little funny backed up.
And so the two products are the video and the flow, but then also, you know, a single kind of snapshot photograph that's going to get uploaded hopefully immediately after we're done. You couldn't help but notice that, you know, over 500 people were there gathered in the very heart of the Common Ground Country Fair, making a statement about the urgency about climate change.
Are things looking okay?
We need them to go slower. The story that keeps getting back to me over and over is how everybody who was involved seemed to really be enjoying themselves. Like it was important to them. They felt like they were doing something meaningful while they were there on the ground, walking their way through that big 350 that we had laid out.
Is it filling up?
It's looking great. It's about time for you to get into position. Anna fills out that top of that 3. We are good.
We're almost ready to take the photo, folks. So rest those arms. Or do that. Or do that. John, how close are we?
Anna's still trying to finish the 3 at the top.
Okay, on the count of 3, we're gonna all say moving Maine and lift up our pumpkins or whatever we've got. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Moving Maine! Good job! Beautiful! Okay, when do we release these people?
I kind of hate to let him go, but I guess we have to.
He wants you to stay here like all afternoon. You look so good.
Okay, Stephanie, we can let him go.
Got ya. So, folks, we're opening up the end of the 0. Please deposit your pumpkin in the bin at the end. They're all going to the Volunteer Regional Food Pantry. In the bin at the end. 80, 79, 80, 81.
Not only was it important and did they feel like they were doing something meaningful, but they were having a good time. You know, they were raising their pumpkins, they were, you know, high-fiving, there were lots of smiles.
350!
I'm not getting that.
I counted 504. Do you hear me?
504?
Yeah, and I wasn't even paying attention that good. Over 500 people.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
We were trying to celebrate the role that local agriculture can play in climate change mitigation and climate change solution.
Local agriculture, let's just begin by saying, the most happy thing that's happening right now in our country. It's the one thing that's going in absolutely the right direction.
Farmers markets are just one of those things that are like so right they can't be wrong, you know?
People all around the country, doesn't matter where you are, in suburbs, in cities, in the country, there's this really explosive movement going on. Farmers markets have doubled in number, then doubled again, and then doubled again.
Farmers markets, I feel like they've sprung up you know, in the past 30 years or so, out of kind of a loss of that like vital downtown feeling.
And this is the single most optimistic statistic I know, that last year the USDA said that for the first time in a century and a half, there were more farms in this country instead of fewer.
Eating local foods is a way of making sure that your food is super fresh. It didn't come from far away on a truck. You know, it was picked when it was ripe. Maybe it's only been off the vine for a couple days.
It makes a lot more sense to take a tomato 5 miles than 5,000 miles. You don't have to fly it, truck it, ship it, bus it, whatever you're going to do. You just have to get it from the guy who grew it to the guy who's going to eat it, without 50 other guys in the middle, all burning fossil fuel.
It's really fun. It's really great to be like putting your money in the farmer's hand and knowing that they're going to use that to like reinvest in their business. Food Miles kind of gets at the heart of like, how local is this? How far away did it come from?
That whole idea of local agriculture is different in the way that it causes people to relate. A pair of sociologists followed shoppers a couple of years ago, first around the supermarket and then around the farmer's market. And what they discovered was that the average shopper at the farmer's market was having 10 times more conversations per visit, all right? I.e., they were building community that we've allowed to dwindle in this country as we've become ever more suburbanized.
Because it's local, it's in season, so that kind of like roots you into your place, you know, into your ecosystem.
It's rebuilding those connections with each other that allow us the possibility of making real progress on public transit, on weatherizing homes, on all the other 1,000 difficult things we need to do if we're actually going to address climate change.
In an economy like the one that we have for right now, where unemployment is so high, it seems like there is a huge opportunity for job training and small business development and employment.
The food is helping bring us back together as communities, and communities turn out to be the most important unit for thinking about climate change and how we're going to get around it. Really, for too many years, I think we didn't really realize that we needed to have a kind of movement, you know? I think we thought scientists will explain to politicians that the worst thing that ever happened in the world is happening and that there are sensible things they could do about it and that they would do them. And we spent many years kind of doing that. And what we hadn't figured out was that while scientists and economists and things were talking reasonably in one ear of our politicians, the fossil fuel industry was going to be bellowing in the other ear. I've been very excited, you know, over the last 3 years to watch people everywhere begin to coalesce around this issue and movements begin to take shape. And in the last few months, to watch people really willing to step up their game. That's really good to see, that people understand it's not something that you can sort of take a half interest in or wait for somebody else to do. So, incredibly beautiful picture from Unity. I've already shown it dozens of times and we'll show it tens of thousands of times. You know, people will be seeing it all over the world, and what it will say to them is A, that there are lots of people in America where this problem is at its worst, climate change, that are willing to do something about it. And B, because of all the beauty of those pumpkins and things, it'll remind them that all of this is about building movements. And movements never look like they're winning until they win.
Kasoro eliaye o Sare wale Kasoro eliaye o. Everybody wanna be a gangster, waving a flag for the set they claim. Democrat or Republican, crip or blood, you can switch it up, really it's all the same. Just corrupted agendas, public offenders, they ain't come to defend us. Government is against us, working for corporate interests. We've been hoodwinked, they walking all over you with carbon footprints. But look man, we gotta find common ground, a common theme on which we gotta agree. We need the sea, we need the trees, we need the air, we got to breathe. Fossil fuels got us living.